booties for black girl nerds.
Very, very good. I'm so pleased to be with all you. This is right in my wheelhouse kind of series. It's macabre, it's interesting and quirky. And Matt, since you're a prayer, I will begin with you. The tone of the series, it's a little deceptive. It sounds quirky, kind of Beetlejuicy in the intro music, but then you get into it and it's scary and it's daunting and you don't know whether to laugh or cry. If you could think of 3 words to describe what the consultant is, how would you describe it?
I would call it unsettling, unique, and dangerous.
With that, how did this stretch you as a director, and how did that shape the vision that you wanted for the series?
It's exactly the kind of thing I love to do. And I think it's what Tony loves to write, and what Christoph is looking for as an actor, which is something you've never seen before, that feels alive and fresh. And the fact that it was not one thing. I think television, especially when I started directing, was always one thing. It was the medical show, it was the comedy, it was the drama. And it was, very boring sitting in those silos. And the fact that we get to tell stories now that are really much more like life. They blend all of these different things. Life is hilarious and heartbreaking oftentimes at the same moment, right? And so to find shows that are doing that are being that skillful in how they play with tone and style is wonderful. And then to add into the center of that something that's even a little bit supernatural and mysterious and makes you lean in. When I finished reading the script for the first time, I just desperate to know what is going to happen next, where are these characters going to go. And I think that's the hallmark of what I want to watch, and it's certainly what I want to make.
Mm-hmm. Over to you, Tony, just to piggyback on what Matt said. It is unique and different in a time where there's so many things being rebuilt. It's refreshing to see some new storytelling and some new creativity. Are you a person who likes to see the day-to-day progress of a series like this? Are you a dailies kind of guy? What satisfaction did it give you to seeing it fully fleshed out and come alive on the screen?
Oh, yeah. I mean, great satisfaction. There's nothing worse than writing something and then, just looking at the page thinking, it doesn't really mean anything yet. It's not until you bring everyone else on board and all these other talented people get involved and bring it to life, and it's great. When I look at the set that, Matt was designing with Ramsey Avery, our production designer, the level of thought that they put into every detail, and again, with performances with Christoph and Nat and BRITTANY and AIMEE as well, they bring something to it that isn't in the script, and people always worry and say, they take your script and, is it ever what you wanted it to be? And I'm like, it's never really what I expect. So I don't have expectations. There's always something they're bringing that I didn't see there myself, which is, as a writer, I think that's the best thing. It's like, well, yeah, maybe I'm better than I thought I was, but they're bringing it. Do you know what I mean? You start crediting yourself with it, but someone else has added that element to it, which is, it's great watching it come together.
I like that, how you said that. It is okay to toot our own horn in 2023. We will not do imposter syndrome anymore in 2023. Christoph, over to you. I found you just brilliant. In one breath, I wanted to fear your character. In the next breath, I kind of chuckled a little bit and saw him as this all-knowing type of Oz type of thing. The audience is going to be very unsure of what to make of him because there is a charm with the fear factor. So how do you ride the line between those things and how you want to bring Regus Patoff to life for us?
You just said it. I ride the line, but I write it. Tony writes it. But it's the same line. And that's, you need to have the line. The surfer dude needs his wave. Otherwise he's just sitting on his board with all the other ducklings next to him. That's, I'm glad you put it that way because that's exactly how it is.
Mm-hmm. When I binge watched it all at once. And, I was just riveted because I just wanted to see what was going to happen to these people and how are we challenged as people when, you know, you have the opportunity to grab the golden ring for yourself, or, you know, all these chaos, in the midst of chaos, you can grow and take a different position or station in your company, your life, etc. Matt, closing with you, what do you think happens when people are in chaos, but there still is an opportunity to social climb or career climb, or, you know, what is that feeling of humanity?
I mean, that's the question of the show, right? And you see it happening with Brittany's character, with Nat's character. It's like, how do you react to this extreme outside force coming in? How does your ambition work, or your lack of ambition? How does your desire to please, or your realization you don't need to? How does that all work? And it becomes a lovely little morality tale as everybody tries to wrestle with that idea. And I think we all feel that in our own lives, you know, and certainly in workplaces.
Because I thought, what would I do? Because at first I'm like, oh no, I'm leaving if something like this happened. And you think about it, like, you know, some of the greatest things are born out of chaos. So maybe it is a good thing to stay. So I don't know. But it is a great question. And this is I really, really liked it. Really, really enjoyed my time with this series. Thank you guys for your time. I cannot wait to see the discussions that come from this, because it's so unique and it's so interesting. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you so much. Thank you, you guys. Woo! You guys sent me through it. I didn't know what the hell was going on at this company. I went through a wave of, you know, do you stay? Do you go? When you have the opportunity to social climb, even in the midst of chaos, what do you do with the midst of that chaos? I'm going to begin with you, AIMEE, because I've seen you the most recently at Newport Beach Film Festival. And when I saw that you were in this, I'm like, is this the show where she was sliding her resume over to try to see if this was the show? Was this the show you were referring to?
When I was to my oh, you mean like when yes, this is the show that I was. Yeah, I was. My husband put me on tape for it at Newport Beach. I gave it like a little speech, and I was like, thanks to my husband for putting me on tape for everything. So yeah, this was one of those jobs, 100%, and I'm just so happy that they picked me.
And her award is right there behind her.
Very, very good. Very good. I foresee something popping up behind you guys too for this show, because it really was just unique and interesting in a space where there's so many reboots and so many recreates. It was so wonderful to see something refreshing. Beginning with you, Nat, with Craig, I feel like represents kind of the every guy, but I would have left. I would have been scared. I would have just left. Once the thing went through, when you read through this and you were shaping who Nat was, is he a scary guy? Is he kind of a maverick type of person? How would you describe those qualities that keep him going back? What kind of a guy is he?
I think he is kind of offbeat and kind of a rebel in his own way. And you know, it's funny how we're sort of taught to follow the rules, but it's usually the people that tend to be a little bit on the fringes that end up standing up for what's right. I mean that sort of ends up being the case, and I don't think Craig is one to follow the herd, but I also think he's really immature as the show begins, and it's really a maturation throughout the season. And I felt like as a person and an actor, I had a really formative experience making the show, because it was, you know, Brittany and I have talked about that, you know, we were so excited to play people our own age and to really to grow up on camera. And as I've said a million times before, like, I've slammed enough lockers in movies and I'm excited to you know, not like be running to, like, not to hear the school bell and have to run out, because I've been doing that for a long time. So it's exciting to be in a part like this. And yeah, it was just a dream. It was really a dream come true job. Also, I read the script, and like the beginning of it, I was so taken by the tone, but it was really the twist at the end where I screamed in my apartment and I was like, I have to fucking be part of this show.
I heard that. Brittany, for you, again, same thing, like you just said, no more locker slamming, no more of that playing. But with Elaine, you know, it's kind of you don't know really where to place Elaine. And I like that about her, because everyone is not going to be so good, so bad. You know, she's trying to make it happen in the best way that she can. So with your portrayal of Elaine, is she menacing? Is she someone who to be fearful? Because it's almost like an eerie calm that she has throughout the series, and I don't know what to make of that sometimes.
Oh, that's an eerie calm is like, that just made me so happy to hear that, because I feel like she's buzzing inside the entire time, but she's, I wouldn't say robotic, but she is a train that has to keep going. She does not stop. And I think when I, got the script or the pilot and talked to Tony and talked to everybody on the team, they wanted someone that was going to be able to transform in the arc, be flexible. And I think Elaine is in this series, at least the way I approached it, was she's made up by her choices that she makes and how she does it. And how are other people around her impacted by it? And how does she see it? And I think that she finds pretty tactical ways to be on everybody's team, which is not always good. And that was, I mean, I don't know how to put her, I don't know how to put her, but just by the choices that she made throughout the series.
And AIMEE, over to you. Patti, we can watch Patti start to change over the course of the season. And, sport with no context, even in the wardrobing, we just see how the change and the metamorphosis starts to happen. How would you say she is in the beginning? How would you say she's in the end without spoiler?
Oh, thank you for that question. And amazing costume department. So I think at the beginning, Patti really thinks that she knows who she is. She's got a very clear path for herself that she's drawn out, and she is on that path come hell or high water. She's dragging Craig along with her. And as the story progresses, and I think one of the themes of our show is how easily the human mind can be influenced, given the right person doing the influencing, giving the right amount of power and the right words, and finding what that person lacks in their life and giving it to them. And I think that's what Patoff does so well with every character, and especially with Patti. He finds a hole and he slips in. And I think at the end, her whole life is sort of in flux. She doesn't really know. All the things that she thought she knew at the beginning are just completely turned on their heads, I guess. And she's sort of left kind of starting over, which I think someone like Patti at the beginning of this would have been her worst nightmare. Going to the back of the line, starting fresh, starting new. So that I think that's her journey, is that she really thinks she knows it all. And in the end, I think that she's like, I don't know anything. I don't know,
I didn't know either. I would have left. I was scared. Right. Thank you guys. I loved it. I can't wait to see people talk about it. I really had a good time. I've seen the whole thing. So it was great. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful season, and I appreciate your time.
Hope to see you soon. Thank you.
So nice.
Take care.
Better shake your booties for black girl nerves. Better shake your booties for black girl nerves.